Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. Julian here for another weekend episode for the 8th weekend of fantasy hockey this season. Now obviously you were not used to seeing Max for the waiver wire and drops video, but I think he did a great job. I was away for a very short trip to the USA, and now I am back and super excited to finish off the season strong with you guys and keep going so that you guys make the fantasy playoffs and then win your fantasy hockey championship. As usual, guys, I'm going to be talking about players that played this weekend to help you secure your victory this week. I'm talking about players that play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Saturday, Sunday. And then you can look at what you have room for in your lineup and make a decision on who you want to pick up. Before we get into it, guys, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It would mean the world to me. I actually just today, the day I'm recording this, hit 1 million views on this channel, which is a huge accomplishment for me and for this channel. I'm just super grateful to all you guys who've supported me over the years of doing this, and I really do appreciate all of you guys. I'm going to keep trying my absolute best to put out the best fantasy content that I can for you guys. All right, let's jump into it and let's take a look at the schedule for this weekend. And on Friday, December 1st, yes, we are finally in December, there are 2 games only. On Saturday, there are 13, and then on Sunday, there are 5. So in all likelihood, Friday and Sunday is probably going to be players that you're going to be looking for, players that play both Friday and Sunday, but you still may have room on Saturday for someone, so I'm definitely still going to be including that in this video. Now, if you do want someone to stream for Friday and Saturday, there's only one team that plays both Friday and Saturday. That team is the Ottawa Senators. Now, if I were to pick someone from the Senators that you're going to be streaming for those 2 days, Drake Batherson would be at the top of my list. Playing on the second line with Josh Norris, as well as the top power play in Ottawa, is a pretty great place for him to be. Now, he hasn't been as amazing as I expected this season, but he seems to be turning things around. I like Drake Batherson a lot, and he's definitely the number one guy to be streaming if you need someone for those 2 days. Then Josh Norris getting the exact same deployment as Drake Batherson. That second line, as well as the top power play, definitely not a bad streamer either. Matthew Joseph playing on the third line right now with Vladimir Tarasenko, but he's been pretty consistent and has exceeded all expectations this season so far. Jake Sanderson is the top power play defenseman right now in Ottawa, so he's definitely someone that I would take a look at. Vladimir Tarasenko, 55% rostered, has had a rough year. Honestly, he really has. But he's playing second power play, third line right now, and he's definitely the next guy that has the most upside. Artem Zub always gives you a pretty safe floor with those peripherals that he puts up, so he'd be the next guy I would look at. And then Dominic Kubalik playing on that second line with Norris and Drake Batherson, which is a great place to be, but he hasn't been all that great. Now, if you need a player that plays both Friday and Sunday, there are 2 teams that can fulfill your needs here. The Columbus Blue Jackets and the San Jose Sharks. Now, the number one guy that I would grab, and it's not even close, guys, it's Boone Jenner. He's been absolutely incredible, and I've been repping this guy for years now, and it's crazy that he's not owned in more leagues, honestly. He's great. He's got perfect peripherals, lots of hits, lots of blocks, lots of shots, and he's great at face-off wins if your league counts that as well. And he's been putting up points like crazy lately. Look no further than Boone Jenner if you need an off-night guy for this weekend. Patrick Laine is another pretty good pickup right now. He's playing right now on the second line with Fantilli and Texier, but is also playing on that top power play. And while he has been a little bit underwhelming this year, Patrick Laine could explode at any time, and he's definitely someone who likes to shoot the puck. Tomas Hertl is the next guy I would go for, top line and top power play in San Jose, and is by far their best player. So definitely not a bad pick here if he is healthy. Johnny Gaudreau, 62% roster, playing top line and top power play with Marchenko, as well as Boone Jenner, which is a great place for him to be. And he's also been doing a lot better as of late. Then Zach Werenski is the next guy I would go for. I know he's a defenseman, but he's getting top power play time, and he's been a lot better over the last couple weeks. Kirill Marchenko is playing on that top line with Boone Jenner and with Johnny Gaudreau, as well as the top power play. And he's a dude who's liked to shoot the puck a lot this year, and he's someone that I was kind of high on at the beginning of the year. I kind of had a speculative, he might have a great season this year, and so far, he's had a pretty decent season. Ivan Provorov is the next guy I would go for, getting second power play time, but has been pretty solid all year, getting an assist almost every single night, as well as putting up some blocks. Mike Hoffman has been incredibly hot as of late, scoring goals left and right, it seems like. He's the next guy that I would go for here. Dmitry Voronkov skating on the third line with Sillinger and Chinakhov, definitely the next guy that I would go for here. Sean Corrali, their fourth line center, but it's a dude that puts up lots of peripherals and manages to put up points more often than you'd think for a fourth liner. Then Fabian Zetterlund, a guy who's actually been shooting the puck a decent amount and has actually been getting some points in San Jose, despite San Jose being an awful team. Justin Danforth is a fourth liner right now in Columbus, but has been pretty consistent and been putting up points as of late. So not the worst streamer in the world if you're in a super deep league. And Anthony Duclair hasn't done a whole lot of anything as of late, but is definitely someone that I have more hopes for doing something than a lot of the rest of the Sharks roster. Now, if you need someone to play Saturday and Sunday, your options are a little bit less limited here. You got Boston, Buffalo, Chicago, Colorado, Nashville, and the New York Rangers. Number one guy that I would be going for here is Ryan O'Reilly. Been really hot lately. Nashville as a whole has been really hot, really good lately, and he's playing with Forsberg as well on the top power play with Forsberg, so he's definitely a great streamer. Then we got Charlie Coyle and Pavel Zacha of the Boston Bruins, and they're the top two centers in Boston right now. Zacha on a line with Marshall and Pasternak, as well as the top power play of those guys, and Coyle on the second line right now in Boston. But actually, it's Charlie Coyle who's been producing more than Pavel Zacha as of late, so he's the guy who I prefer slightly over Pavel Zacha. Then we got John Jason, JJ Peterka of the Buffalo Sabres, been very hot as of late, still scoring goals, still shooting the puck, still playing on that second line in Buffalo. Definitely like me some JJ Peterka for this weekend. Then give me Gustav Nyquist, top line and top power play right now with O'Reilly and with Philip Forsberg in Nashville. And this dude is on a point streak right now, and it's been quite a few games at this point. Somebody that I like a lot right now, Casey Middlestat, is currently playing on the top line in Buffalo with Tage Thompson injured. So he's playing with Tuck and Skinner as well as the top power play. Great place for him to be. Philip Kershaw is someone who's been pretty good as of late. He hasn't played that many games, but the points that he's put up in the few games that he's played is actually really good. Playing on the top line with Bedard as well as that top power play. Definitely someone who's slipping under the radar right now. Then Jason Dickinson is producing kind of out of nowhere for the Chicago Blackhawks. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense because he's playing on the third line with a bunch of nobodies, but he's been putting up points and decent peripherals as of late, so he's definitely not the worst pickup. If you want someone who's a little bit more safe, JVR, he's playing on that second line in Boston as well as the top power play. He's definitely a decent pickup as well. Ross Colton playing with Miles Wood and O'Connor on that third line in Colorado. Obviously had a really nice hot streak. It's kind of come to an end a little bit. He's cooled off, but still a decent pickup if you need someone for Saturday and Sunday nights. Luke Evangelista is obviously someone that I liked a lot this year, playing on that second line in Nashville, though he's no longer on the top power play, so that does hurt him a little bit, but still someone that will probably get you a point or two if you pick him up for those two games. Alexis Lafreniere, he's someone that I made my Manscaped must add a couple weeks ago just because he was doing so well, and you kind of had to add him just in case he was going to keep that up. Obviously, he hasn't done that, guys. So those of you who roasted me for saying that he's kind of a bust as long as he stays on the Rangers, well, maybe I had a little bit of truth to that argument, guys. He had a really nice hot streak, but has not been able to maintain that, unfortunately. Ryan Johansson is another guy who I would go for here, playing on the second line in Colorado, as well as the top power play. That's where he has the opportunity to put up points here. And finally, Kiefer Sherwood of the Nashville Predators is also getting second line time in Nashville. Let's jump into defensemen now, and initially it had Eric Gustafsson as number one on my list because, well, he's been great with Adam Fox out, but with Adam Fox back, guys, Eric Gustafsson doesn't really have all that much value anymore, and he's honestly droppable. So I have Jake Sanderson, who you already saw earlier in this video as the number one defenseman to stream. He's getting top power play time in Ottawa. Zach Werenski and Ivan Provorov were also guys you already saw that play on Friday as well as Sunday, and those are great streamers as well. For guys that play Saturday and Sunday, Owen Power is probably your number one option right now. Putting up assists, not a whole lot of peripherals though, so you're really hoping that he does put up points, because if he doesn't, he's going to be a whole big bust. Keandre Miller is also someone who's a little bit boomer bust. He does put up okay peripherals sometimes, but the points aren't always there. If he doesn't put them up, he's probably going to disappoint you. Ryan McDonough and Alexandre Carrier of the Nashville Predators are guys who've been surprisingly decent this year, putting up some pretty decent peripherals and potentially could put up a point for you as well. And then finally, Kevin Korchinski's a guy who is kind of a gamble here. He is getting top power play time in Chicago. Hasn't done a whole lot lately, but if you're looking for points, could be a guy who can save you. Taking a look at goalies who are playing on Sunday, potentially, the number one guy that I would grab for Sunday is Jonathan Quick playing against the lowly San Jose Sharks. If he does get that start, guys, Quick should have an easy time cleaning up the San Jose Sharks. Kevin Lankinen against the Buffalo Sabres, as well as Comrie or Luukkonen against the Nashville Predators. I think it's going to be a relatively low-scoring game, so both goalies should be pretty decent grabs here. I think the Preds will win. That's why I have Lankinen a little bit higher. Mrazek or Soderblom, whoever gets the start against the Minnesota Wild, is the guy who I like the most. Although Minnesota finally won a game with the change of coach, so maybe Gustafsson or Fleury might be the guy to be grabbing here if they're available in your league. And Ivan Prosvetov of the Colorado Avalanche, if he does get the start against LA, I actually think he's probably going to start on Saturday against Anaheim, but if he does start Sunday against LA, could be a decent streamer as well, though LA is a very strong team. And then Elvis Merzlikins of the Columbus Blue Jackets does have a very tough matchup with the Boston Bruins, but definitely still could be a pretty good streamer here. Boston has struggled a little bit as of late. And finally, the worst streamer would be the San Jose Sharks goalie, Blackwood or Kakkonen, whoever starts against the very strong New York Rangers team. So guys, jumping into the categories league section of the video now. And if you need to win your shots on goal categories, if you're winning just by a little bit or you're trying to catch up, you're going to want to stream someone for 2 games to help you catch up on shots on goal. The number one guy to be grabbing is Boone Jenner, who shoots 2.9 times per game. So over 2 games, you should get at least 5 to 6 shots on goal. Kirill Marchenko, same kind of thing, 2.8 shots on goal per game. Fantilli, 2.7. Drake Batherson, 2.6. JJ Peterka, 2.5. Norris, 2.5. Ross Colton, 2.4. Zetterlund, 2.3. And Donato, 2.2. If you need blocks, the number one guy is Bernard Docker. I like to call him Bernard Blocker myself, but he's been pretty good on the block shots category, although his sample size is smaller than Ferraro, so I still think that I would personally go for Ferraro if I was between the two of them. But Bernard Docker has been pretty good, blocking 3.1 blocks per game. Ferraro 3.0, Eric Goodbranson 2.6, Connor Murphy 2.5, Bonino 2.5, Ryan McDonough 2.4, and Provorov 2.3. Now, Bonino's an interesting one because he's a center, and forwards don't usually block that much, but that's definitely a cool one to see. If you need hits, Eric Robinson has been hitting 3 times per game. His sample size is very small, though, so definitely he's a little bit more risky. He could even be healthy scratch, but he's definitely hitting a lot right now, so definitely could be a nice risky choice here. Trenton 2.8, Lozone 2.6, Cooley 2.6, Clifton 2.5, Shen 2.5, a little bit riskier as well though because he's the 7th defenseman right now. Foligno 2.3, Samuelson 2.3, and Kiefer Sherwood 2.3 as well. And finally, if you need face-off wins, the number one guy to grab here is Tomas Hertl, who wins 11.1 face-off per game. If he's healthy, make sure he's healthy before you grab him. Boone Jenner 11.1 as well. O'Reilly 10.8. Charlie Coyle 9.6. Johansson 9.2. Sturm 8.4. Josh Norris 7.9. Pavel Zacha 7.3. And Colton Sissons 7.1. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed the content today, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.